As some of you may or may not know, the last 4 years of my life have been pretty heavily taxed with health problems. To start, I'll rewind to April of 2017. I'm 21 years old, living in a house with 4 other roommates in the Northeast Heights of Albuquerque, New Mexico. I was dating my now wife, Emily, and we were at that point 5 years strong. My life consisted of typical 21-year-old activities, being partially committed to school, partially committed to work, partially committed to YouTube, and partially committed to my girlfriend. Most nights consisted of skating, drinking Coors Banquet or Maker's Mark, video games, reluctantly smoking cigarettes because I wanted to fit into the circle I was in, and my personal favorite, weed. My diet consisted of fast food, donuts, cereal, quesadillas, pizza with ranch, and breakfast burritos. Legitimately, absolutely nothing substantial that had any nutritional value and was completely absent of vitamins and nutrients that my body needed. Looking back at my life in hindsight, I had always been a person that was generally tired, grouchy, embarrassed, and just not in the mood. At this point, I was starting to get relatively thick, and frankly, I didn't care. I actually wanted to get fat. Physical and mental health was not on my radar in any capacity. One night around this time, I suddenly woke up in the middle of the night, bolted to the bathroom, and just, excuse me mom, ass blasted everything that was in me. I had sharp abdominal pain and had no idea why. The running joke with my friends was that I was always the butt problems guy. After about the 3rd day of the sharp pain and frequent restroom use, I was really hoping it would go away. A week went by, no change. 2 weeks went by, no change. I started to notice I was losing a little bit of weight. I decided I needed to go see a doctor. I went to a generic family medicine doctor close to my house, told her my symptoms, and she set me up to have an endoscopy done. I had the endoscopy. Results came back that everything looked fine. That meant, let's go in from the other end. An appointment was made for a colonoscopy. Kill me. It was around this time that I realized I needed to get out of the house of roommates. I loved my friends, but nonstop hanging wasn't cutting it for me. I was getting progressively worse and needed my own space with a cleaner, more uplifting environment. So Emily and I decided to get married. It was just time to make that next step in our relationship. We planned our entire wedding in 2 weeks and spent a total of $1,000. It was such an incredible day, and I'll link the wedding video right here. Okay, it's July 2017. Emily and I are married. We moved into a loft in West Downtown Albuquerque, and I'm still getting sicker. The colonoscopy appointment came. The results? Very aggressive intestinal inflammation in line with Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis. Get wrecked. The gastroenterologist put me on prednisone, a steroid, and mesalamine, an anti-inflammatory, right away. Big surprise, after a month of taking them, they didn't help in the slightest. It was around this time where I started losing my hair. I'm not sure if it was because of the medication I was taking, or if it was because I was becoming increasingly more and more vitamin and nutrient deficient because I wasn't properly absorbing the food I was eating. I'm down to 150 pounds from my usual 170 pounds. My doctor sees that the medication isn't working and suggests that we take a new approach, and that was Humira, an immunosuppressive drug that blocks the inflammatory response protein TNF from being signaled when an intruder or an inflammatory trigger is sensed. Now, for whatever reason, taking this serious of a drug that I have to inject into my thigh twice a month didn't make any sense to me. I asked my doctor if diet at all played a role into why I was so inflamed. It was, after all, my intestines that were giving me issues. His response, that I'll never forget, was that diet played zero role in my condition, and that pharmaceuticals for the rest of my life was my only solution. Fuck off. 1 year had passed from my initial symptoms. It was April of 2018. I weighed 137 pounds. I had joint pain. My hair was falling out so much that I buzzed it all off. I had zero energy. Dark circles and bags are forming under my eyes. I would get dizzy multiple times a day that I would have to sit down. I was anemic. I had blood work done and my C-reactive proteins were off the charts. I was depressed, frail, and over everything. I was at my rock bottom. I decided to hold off on the Humira and try to tackle my problem without the help of Big Pharma. With the information that there is on the internet today, I was ready to take this matter into my own hands and figure this shit out. I started reaching out to everyone I could of people in my situation and was referred excellent books, The Maker's Diet and Breaking the Vicious Cycle in particular. I dove into YouTube videos of people in my situation and who had dealt with various health problems without Western medicine. I listened to podcasts that introduced me to new ways of eating. I learned about the ketogenic diet, the paleo diet, intermittent fasting, eating whole, raw, nutrient-dense, organically grown food. I immersed myself in an abundance of information. I have the internet to thank. Thank you, internet. So this is all good. I have all the information I could ever need at the tips of my fingers. However, I had a sugar addiction that I couldn't kick for the life of me. Months went by, and I was eating mostly better. I would still allow myself to have treats and would splurge all the time though. I was doing okay. I decided I needed to make a serious life change. I needed to break my sugar addiction. I took off work for a month and went up to Portland to spend some time with family. Up there, we went through the Maker's Diet book to a T. It was a month of zero sugar, zero refined carbs of any kind, only real, whole foods, organic everything. The majority of my diet was healthy fats and high quality protein. What did I learn after a month? Carbohydrate withdrawal is a real thing. Switching your body's fuel source from carbs to fat is not fun. There is a lot of chemical and microbiome changes taking place, and it takes a long time for your body to adjust. Now, I'm not going to claim that by the end of the month I was healed or back to normal, but it was the start of a new direction for me. I had changed course. I gradually started to feel better and gain more weight as the months went by. But then a new problem came to the surface, quite literally. I'll keep the details scarce for the sake of the story, but I ended up getting an abscess in quite literally the worst spot you can think of. Bottoms up, boys. About a month of this, and I had to go see a general surgeon. And let's just say that without any anesthesia, in a very sensitive spot with a lot of nerve endings, it was quite traumatizing. Moving on. Going through health problems of any kind is never fun. It's a harsh reminder that we are not invincible. We are all very mortal. And yes, we are all going to die. I'm actually glad to have learned this life lesson at a young age, because it grew me the hell up, and fast. Life is suffering, and my life and your life are no exception. Pain hits us all at some point in many different ways. Mine happened to be physical. Would I have taken any of these experiences away if I could have? Absolutely not. I was living a self-serving, gluttonous, carefree lifestyle that was heading towards death and destruction without me even knowing it. I am now immensely health conscious, and changing my diet was just the start. I now incorporate things into my life like intermittent fasting, prolonged fasting, meditation, exercise and physical activities of all sorts, stretching, drinking more water, breathing exercises, sauna and float tank use, proper supplementation, learning how to have media and screen self-control, being present in conversations. The quote that has stuck with me through this entire time is, "Hard times create strong individuals. Strong individuals create good times. Good times create weak individuals. And weak individuals create hard times." Okay, fast forward to present day, August 2020. I'm feeling a lot better these days. Dealing with health problems is becoming more and more of a distant memory. I feel like I've never felt before. My mind is as sharp as it's ever been. I am the strongest I've ever been. I have the most energy I've ever had. I now weigh 180 pounds, this time with no belly. I am on a journey with no point of arrival. I've learned so much in these last few years that I hope to be able to share with people. Hopefully this story was helpful in some way, whether big or small. I'll be in the comment section below. Much love. Critch.